Most people who start a YouTube channel will never make $1 from it. And I can usually tell within about 5 minutes of talking to somebody on whether they're going to make it or not. Not because I'm a genius, because the same 5 things show up every single time in those conversations. So today, I'm going to take the guesswork out of it for you, and I'm going to show you that test, the one that I run in my head when I'm talking to creators. There's 5 questions that I want you guys to score yourself on, 1 through 5 for your answers, 5 being good, 1 being bad. And at the end, you're going to add up your score, and I'm going to tell you exactly where you stand, what your chances are, and what to do about it. So get your notes app open on your phone or a pen and paper, whatever you prefer, and let's get into it. So I didn't make any real money on YouTube for 8 years. 8 years of posting videos before I had anything worth talking about in terms of income. Now, when I did start making money, I would still leave ads off a ton of my videos because back then, not nearly as many creators were monetized. Ads they had a stigma around them, and I wanted to get people into the content as fast as possible without having to sit through an ad first. Now, because my videos were feeding my business, I didn't really care about the revenue. I just needed the attention. I just needed the traffic. But once my channel did get into real momentum, that's when I did turn the ads on across my entire channel, all of the videos. And back then, that channel averaged on the low side $3,000 a month. Real average was about $5,000 a month. And my best month ever in terms of AdSense was about $12,000, just over. But even that paled in comparison to what I was making from sponsorships, affiliate deals, and the actual business that YouTube was driving that traffic to. Now, I understand that getting started on YouTube isn't always cheap, even though it's easier than ever before to just pick up your phone and shoot. And I talk to people all the time who say that they want a return on their investment within 60 days, whether it's the camera gear, investing in a coach, or whatever that looks like, right? And even time investment. And I just tell them straight up, that's probably not going to happen. You might make your money back maybe within a year. You might not. But the people who pour into what they're doing, they focus on the process. They obsess over that rather than the paycheck. Those are the ones that, like 99 out of 100 times, get paid the fastest. I know it's backwards, but it's true. And with that being said, here's your first question. Remember, you need to be scoring yourself on these. If YouTube paid you absolutely nothing, would you still be making videos? Would you still be excited to hit record? Would you still be eager to get into an edit? If you score a 1 on this, that means that you'd quit tomorrow, you'd lose interest, and you'd be over it before this video's even over. If you gave yourself a 5, that means you'd be doing this regardless. And keep in mind, you could score a 2, 3, or 4. Write this down. Now, I think you'd agree with this, but there's a huge difference between somebody who goes to the gym a couple times a week versus a professional bodybuilder, for example, or a big difference between you and I driving to and from work every day versus a professional F1 driver. Foundationally, we do some of the same tasks, but how we look at them and how we pursue them separates the amateurs from the professionals. There's nothing wrong at all with being a hobbyist. Let me say that again. There is nothing wrong with doing YouTube as a hobby. But if you want professional results, you can't show up with a hobbyist mindset. The next question is where that gap shows up the most. Now, the worst answer I've ever got for this next question that I have for you guys was just 7 words, and it stuck with me from a conference from like 3 years ago. They said, Adam, I make videos about a bunch of stuff. And when I asked them to, narrow that down, explain this to me, it took them over 5 minutes to explain what their channel was about. I remember them pulling out their phone to show me. 5 minutes. If you need 5 minutes to explain what you do, that's not a channel. That's no focus. That's a mess. And by the way, there's a reason it's called a YouTube channel. Think about cable TV. You don't go to ESPN looking for cooking shows. You don't flip over to HGTV to watch sports. You don't turn Nickelodeon on expecting the nightly news. The channels that win and have had sustainability since I was a kid, ESPN, Food Network, Disney, HGTV, all of those, they all have one thing in common, a common theme, a common focus, a specific viewer in mind. And I know you guys are going to push back. I know that there are generalist networks like CBS, ABC that play a little bit of everything. But those channels are free through the antenna. Nobody's subscribing to those. And the ratings on most of those shows are terrible, especially in today's day and age with so many things fighting for attention. And let's face it, nobody's loyal to those channels the way they are ESPN, Discovery Channel, and so forth. Your YouTube channel works in the exact same way. And yet people think that they could just post a little bit of everything and somehow the algorithm is going to celebrate their artistic range. That's not how it works. That's not how it's ever worked. And when I think about it for a second, a lot of people believe that the massive creators on this platform have it all figured out and they make content for everybody. And that's not really true. Even for Mr. Beast, even a guy like Mark Rober, who gets hundreds of millions of views on his videos, he doesn't make content for everyone. His videos have a science focus, an engineering focus. And that doesn't interest every single person. And he's fine with that. I guess I would be too. Because clarity is what makes a channel stick. See, what you need to understand is that when somebody's dialed in, they can tell you in one sentence what their channel's about and it'll perfectly make sense. For example, my channel helps entrepreneurs and business-minded creatives grow their brand and business using YouTube as a tool. That's it. One sentence. Everybody else who benefits from it, that is awesome. I'm happy, great. But I know exactly who I'm talking to every time I hit record. Now, I have a client right now, shout out to Michael. He was a focused generalist. And that sounds like a bit of a contradiction. Let me explain. He made videos about freelancing using Upwork, Google Ads, PPC stuff, and then AI tools as it related to running businesses and efficiencies. And it was all under one big umbrella. And when we sat down in person, he came to Orlando, shout out to him again, we realized that his zone of genius was two separate things. So we launched a separate channel, one being for freelancers using Upwork, and the other one just obsesses and is purely Google PPC ads. Because he has an agency. And in the last 60 days alone, both of his channels have picked up more momentum than he's ever experienced before. More comments, more subscribers, more people reaching out, signing up for his lead magnets, joining his mailing list. All because he stopped trying to be everything for everyone. So naturally, here's your second question. Can you explain what your channel is about in one sentence? If you give yourself a 1 on this question, it means that you might need 5 minutes and to pull out your phone for it to make sense like that person did to me years ago. A 5 would mean that you could tell a complete stranger and they would instantly understand. But even if you nailed that one, the next question is the one that most people lie to themselves about. Oh, and by the way, before I jump into that, I put everything that you need into my ultimate YouTube growth guide, which is a perfect companion for all of my videos here on this channel. More than 10,000 people have downloaded it now just in the last 3 or 4 months alone. And I am confident that you would get a ton of value from it as well. So if you're ready to take your channel to the next level and want something that's going to take these videos and elevate your entire experience, click the link in the description box below, download it, do something with it, please, and enjoy. Now, there's one sentence that gets under my skin more effectively than most. And I want to know if you guys have ever said this before, thought this before, or expressed this before. My content is for everyone, Adam. I'm just going to tell you right now, that's the most expensive sentence in content creation. Across all platforms too, not just here on YouTube. Because when you make videos for everyone, you connect with no one. And those who you do connect with is surface level at best. When you know exactly who you're talking to, you know what keeps them up at night, you know what makes them excited, giddy, happy, joyous, you know what they've already tried, you know where they've been, you know the words that they use to describe their own problems because those problems were yours at one time. And when they find their video and they hear what you say, the things that you've been through, the things you're thinking, how you're helping them, they say, oh, I couldn't put those into words. I found someone who could. That's when they subscribe. That's when they binge. That's when they find somebody who now they trust and they're building a symbiotic relationship through YouTube videos. That's how we engineer the trust, not by being somebody we're not, but by putting ourselves in the position of those who we genuinely want to help and serve. See, when you're making videos for everyone, you end up being mediocre for everybody. And mediocre channels, creators, videos, they don't gain subscribers. They don't gain views. They don't really get sponsorships most of the time, and they certainly don't get people to come back. Now, I'm going to be transparent about my channel for a second. A lot of you guys think that I run a general YouTube growth channel. And I hate to break it to you, but I don't. I don't teach short strategy. I think it's a waste of time. I don't make content for gaming channels or faceless AI content. And if somebody isn't trying to build something real with YouTube, I'm not making a single video for them. Now, some of those people, 100% will still get value from my stuff, and that's great. But every word I say on my channel is aimed at entrepreneurs, business-minded creatives who are hungry, who are competitive, and who understand it's going to take some time. Those people are me. That's why I'm talking to them. I'm talking to myself. So here's your third question. Do you know exactly who your videos are for? If you give yourself a 1 here, that would be an answer such as anybody who wants to watch my videos. If you give yourself a 5, that means that you could describe your ideal viewer so specifically that if they were sitting across the table from you at a coffee shop, they think that you were reading their mind. And whatever you scored on this one, hold on to that one because the next part is something that I just went through myself a few days ago. So I published a video on this channel recently. It was actually the video before this one that you're watching right now. And the video tanked. It noticeably underperformed. The people who did watch it were super engaged. AVD was great. Comments were solid. The likes were solid. But not enough people clicked in the first place because the packaging was off. So what did I do? Well, I changed the title. I changed the thumbnail. You could see what it was before and what it is now. And I looked at the data. I figured out where the mismatch was. And then I sat down and wrote the script for this video. What I did not do is I didn't disappear for 2 weeks to wallow in my disappointment. I didn't spiral into some story about how the algorithm was against me. I didn't question whether or not it was worth it or, what was I doing here on YouTube? Because after 15 years, I know that not every single video is going to be a home run. And you have to be totally okay with that. You can't gauge your success by your best day. You can't gauge your failure by your worst day. Neither one is every day. That's just like life. Some days you're sick. Some days everything's going wrong. Other days you might get a promotion. You might take a trip, get married, your kid's born. Those are the highlights, but neither of them are the norm. Now, a lot of people watch a video flop and they just stop posting. If you guys have been guilty of that, let me know in the comments. You're certainly not alone. They take a break. They step away for a few weeks because of the stress and how their mental health is being affected by the YouTube studio. And I get it. I've been there. I've done that. But doing that is like feeling sick and then deciding to go lick a bunch of handrails. It only makes things worse. Every time I've personally taken a break from my main channel, meaning like take, 3 to 6 weeks off, it took 4 to 6 weeks of me posting some of my best, most planned, well-crafted content before I could get YouTube to trust me again. It's like ghosting somebody that you're dating. You stop returning their text. You don't answer the door depending on how long you've been dating. It's like you send all of their calls to voicemail. Then a month later, you show back up and you're shocked that they're pissed at you. That they don't trust you anymore. They've got more questions than you're ready for. YouTube is exactly the same way. So with that being said, here's your fourth question. When your last video flopped, and I know that every single one of us that makes videos has that experience, what did you do? A 1 means that you stopped posting, you took a ton of time off, you threw something random up hoping to go viral right after that and just didn't put any effort into it. And a 5 means that you looked at the data, you studied your analytics, you made adjustments, and you posted your next video on schedule. Whatever you scored, the last question that I have for you guys is the one that separates everybody. Honestly, it's the simplest one on the test. Okay, so in 2018, after about 8 years of being super inconsistent on YouTube, I told my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, love you, babe, that I wanted to do 2 videos a week for 1 year on my channel. And after that, if nothing changed, if things didn't start picking up, if I didn't get into it, that I would seriously consider whether or not YouTube was worth continuing. And I followed through on that. There was only 3 weeks within that calendar, or not calendar year to year. I think we started in March or something. So March to March, whatever. 3 times that I missed 1 video. I still did 1. And then there was a few weeks where I hit 3 to try to make up for it because I was going for, 104 videos. It took me 8 years to reach 50,000 subscribers, disengaged subscribers. But from that day where I committed and I got really consistent, it took less than 18 months to go from 50,000 to 200,000. And within 6 or 7 months, maybe 8, I had generated more than $200,000 between sponsorships, a program that I was running at the time, partnerships, affiliate income, and obviously the YouTube ad revenue. And this isn't just my story. Every creator that I've watched break through had their own version of this. There's a point where they stopped dabbling and got really serious, started treating it like it mattered. And I'm not going to tell you that consistency guarantees success because it doesn't. Because if you do the wrong thing over and over and over again, you're never getting better. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. But I've never seen anybody, seriously, no one ever build something real on the platform by posting whenever they felt like it. The way I see it is that if you're not willing to post 50 to 100 videos, not 15, 50 to 100 videos without worrying about whether or not anybody's watching them, obviously within reason because we want to look at our analytics and get better. But if you're just 5 videos in and you're already thinking about quitting, this is going to be a really hard, long road for you guys. You guys, unfortunately, are the ones that are usually complaining pretty heavy in the comment section about everything being against you. And I go look at your channels and you have like 7 videos over the last 9 months. And that's not me trying to be harsh with you either, or be rude or abrasive or disrespectful. It's just me being honest, because I don't think enough people are. So here's that question. How many weeks in a row have you posted without skipping? A 1 means that you post whenever you feel like it, obviously with no rhythm or commitment. But if you post a 5, or if you write down a 5, that means that you haven't missed in months and have no plans to. All right, now what I want you guys to do is take those 5 numbers that you wrote down, and I want you to add them all up. Now, if you scored a 21 to a 25 in total points or total score, you're what I call a builder. You have the mindset, the clarity is there, your consistency is on point, so stay patient. If the results that you're looking for haven't shown up yet, they will. You're doing all the right things, you have the vision, now you just need the time to catch up with the vision, and it's only a matter of time. Now, if you scored a 16 to a 20, you're what I consider a starter. The foundation is solid, there are gaps 100%, and you can look at those questions where you scored the lowest on, and those are the specific spots where you're leaving momentum on the table. So just tighten those up, and I promise you, you're gonna feel a momentum shift in a positive way in like 90 days or less. So you're closer than you think. All right, now if you scored an 11 to a 15, you're what I consider a dabbler. And I don't say that to be disrespectful. I know that some of you guys might have a knee-jerk reaction to that and start getting real heated in the comments, but I say that because you have some good instincts. Otherwise, you wouldn't be up to that score. But you're treating YouTube like a hobby while expecting professional business results. And the gap between what you're putting in and what you're expecting out is where most of your frustration is coming from right now. I can guarantee it. Now, if you scored a 5 to a 10, you're what I consider a dreamer. You like the idea of doing YouTube more than the reality of what it takes. And that's okay to admit. Again, there's nothing wrong with doing YouTube as a hobby. And if that's all it is, then none of these numbers matter at all. But you need a full reset if you do want to take it seriously. Not on your channel, on how you're thinking about the entire thing. So go back through each question and be really honest with yourself. Every one of these scores can start changing immediately. You have the ability to get a higher score unless you're already at a 25, right? But nobody can do it for you. You can hire a personal trainer, they can't lift the weights for you. You get what I'm saying? I can go into a million different examples. Now, that being said, if you are brave enough watching this right now, I want you to drop your total score and your current identity in the comments. If your score doesn't match what I labeled you as, I want to hear about it as well, and I want to know why. Are you a builder? Are you a starter? Are you a dabbler? Are you a dreamer? I know people that are technically builders that feel like dabblers, and I know people that are dreamers that think they're builders. And I want to see where this community is at right now. And I want us to be real about this because I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by what number is on their pad of paper or on their phone right now. And I think by sharing it, it helps us stay accountable to the rest of the people that are also going after it. Speaking of going after it, if you're ready to go all in on your channel and get it into momentum faster than you ever expected, click to watch this video next. And if you haven't yet, click that little subscribe button to join the channel family here. Until next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and I do appreciate you watching.